All right, hello everyone, and welcome to week 2, day 2 of ICL. Today we have 520 versus Ravens. Shining Knights versus Nexus won't actually be happening due to the fact that Nexus has dropped out from ICL. So we only have the one matchup today. Today with me I have Daza and then myself, Olive. Hello.
Hi, good to be back again. How is everyone doing today? Also, happy Father's Day to everyone who's celebrating.
Happy Father's Day. Yes, it's almost past that time for Europe. I don't want when is what time is it right now in Europe?
Um, right now in Europe, it's like I think on the east side it's probably like 11 p.m. and
Okay, so
then on the west it's gonna be almost 9 p.m. So
um,
it's still evening. It's still Father's Day there too.
ooh,
But it is getting a bit late.
yes.
I mean, I do know that we have some European watchers, so to whoever's staying up for this, props to you. Y'all are amazing.
For real. I hope you enjoy the matches that are to come. And yes, if you haven't wished your father happy birthday, not happy birthday, not his birthday, happy Father's Day, and you
Happy
want
birthday.
to
All fathers
make
were
sure you do.
born on the same day.
Yeah, you know. Yes. Everyone knows. So we have as we've said, we have 520 versus Ravens. Ravens, a long established team, mostly filled with very high tiers. We have the hunters we've seen are Catalonics, I think that's how you say that. Who wonderful Dream Witch, very started off as a Wu Chang main. Don't know um if a lot of people remember that, but yeah, Wu Chang main, Catalonics. That was I remember that era. Yes. Wu Chang.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I mean,
Hmm.
we have seen a little bit of Wu Cheng before on former seasons. I
Hmm.
think who was it again? I think it was Cyrone, right, who played Wu Cheng on
Yes.
Moonlit back in there. But I think he was only one of the few who actually played him because obviously, as everyone probably knows too, Wu Cheng gets countered insanely by good communication because being able to be in VC like, hey, he's gonna teleport, that makes sure that everyone who is on his side from machine or whatsoever can just move off, therefore not really giving away a free hit. So therefore Wu Cheng not really being used, so in a tournament setting, switching from Wu Cheng to Dream Witch makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. All right, we should be going into it fairly soon. Yep, and there we go. Um, we have, if I'm correct, yes, we have 520 hunting first, but Ravens are doing their the Survivor, and we do see a Seer ban coming first from the Raven, not Raven 520 hunter. We also see the 4 priestess locks, very intelligent, making sure that you have the harasser plus a support, especially on a map like Chinatown, where you can, with priestess, you can easily traverse and help your teammates um, transition for long kites.
Oh, the bans and picks coming in kinda quick, so Seer, Patient Mercenary getting banned right now, Forward Priestess and Entomologist so far. The same as we saw yesterday, locking in that Forward and that Priestess right away. I mean, it's Chinatown, we all know Priestess and bigger buildings, that's just... It's insanely difficult to deal with. Because she can make a lot of distance with just one portal. Acrobat coming in as well as the 4th survivor, so we have a very strong team in terms of kiting. Decoding, on the other hand, not too fast, but we have seen once again that mechanic and decoders in general kind of lost their spot in this meta. Cypher Rush, of course, still is strong, but having kiters such as entomologist and acrobat, they don't lose that much on decoding, as it's just, they are neutral, they don't have a debuff, they don't have a buff, but they are very strong in terms of kiting, so that ensures that if they get that first chase, they can put down a relatively good first kite, which makes up for the fact that a forward and a priestess cannot decode as fast as any other character. Also, Breaking Wheel coming in, very nice pick on Chinatown. Chinatown is definitely more a survivor-sided map, but we do know that a lot of these windows break after just being folded 3 times, which is really good for Breaking Wheel, because if they decide to go back and forth on that window, it will just break down, and he's able to get that spike off.
Yes, and as you were saying, this is quite honestly a very strong team comp against Breaking Whale. Despite, even if they get those chips fairly early, all of the characters are very strong kiting characters. Plus, they have that forward to support if need be. And while Priestess would technically be the weakest kiter in this area, as long as she saves her portals for when that wheel is out of wheel form and just chasing her, she should still be set on, especially on a map like Chinatown, where she's able to go through the building. And we will see that match starting. We have a tofu shop spawn from the hunter. Very strong. However, there are a person already in that two-story, spawning in that two-story, but everybody else is mostly in the open.
So, finding the priestess, which is a really good first target for, I shouldn't say really good. It's just that the Breaking Wheel can deal with those portals because you can just power through them. So, not the worst chase here. Priest is doing well, kiting so far, taking 1 spike. He's just going for the classic insolence, getting that 1 hit with the spike to ensure that his second presence is off. And therefore can just snap the second time. Really foolproof strategy, because it can really cut down the chase short, as it's quite easy for him to get a first spike off, but getting that second spike will sometimes cause a lot of trouble for a hunter.
Yes, especially as we remember, like on a character such as Priestess, getting that second spike. If you were to do that by doing this, he can make sure that he cuts off that Priestess from getting anywhere where she can properly utilize her portals and get that quick hit and then that spike, rather than going for both of the spikes and then continuing to get kited, because she was able to use that time where he was trying to get the spikes in order to transition to an area that would allow her to kite him a lot more easily. We do see that Acrobat preparing himself at the top. Very good position. If the wheel does go up, then he has a free rescue, but making sure that he's able to go for that rescue
Getting the
beforehand.
emo to bait the hunter to go for the hit. Very smart on the Acrobat. Nice job as well going upstairs. It's really hard for him to go up in that wheel form, so good job from the Acrobat there, stalling the rescue as much with the Priestess being shared at the Acrobat side. For now, it's gonna be up to the Priestess to try and do somewhat of a rebound, but it's just really tough against a hunter like Breaking Wheel. If you go down once, get shared once from there on, with the fact that he has that snap, only needs to get those spikes on, and we all know that it's really hard to get away from chairs, as there's not relatively good kiting areas right next to a chair. It is relatively easy for him to get that spike on.
Very nice, canceling that football. Yeah, we saw a very smart play from both sides. The forward trying to go around the buildings in order to not get cut off.
Is he gonna be able to rescue? No, he is.
Oh, and getting that rescue off. Very nice play.
Wow.
Still getting that hit on that Priestess, though. Very nice play from both sides. 10 out of 10, honestly.
Yeah, great move from the entomologist as well, coming in with that support, realizing, okay, this is gonna be really tricky. considering there is a trap, excitement coming in too, so forward was really pushed into a corner there, but they still made it work. Forward did not take a hit so far. This means that he gets to harass here, and excitement is down too, so that does give a lot of opportunities for the forward.
Very good draw. However, this spot is actually very nice for a forward to harass because of the fact that there's 3 different narrow openings he can choose between. The Wheel is not able to cut off all of those directions as you saw there, but still very nice drop from Whale, stopping that forward from harassing. All right, and we will see that.
And now it's gonna go down to 2 ciphers remaining. From here, it's looking really tricky. There is one cipher that has a lot of progress, but they need to start their second cipher still. Acrobat is injured. He's gonna try his best to kite this out for as long as he potentially can, but the question is it gonna be enough? They do still have 2 other survivors being uninjured, so they can definitely make a play, but seems like there is no more tight turner. And like I said, it's gonna be really hard to get away from a wheelchair.
Yes, as you were saying, yeah, in this position, especially because of the fact that one of their last ciphers remaining is one of the ones in middle, which is very easy for that Wheel to pressure end game. It does look like this match is very in favor of the Wheel.
Entomologist realizing, learning, also coming in with the dead heart on making sure that she doesn't get that second spike. Sadly, Acrobat instantly going down. Like I said, it's just too hard. If you don't have tight turner, you're not really getting away from that breaking wheelchair.
We did, however, see that Ento did use that dead harden in order to make sure that they did not get that second spike to either guarantee the fact that they're able to go for another rescue or not get snapped down if the Acrobat does not get that ball off.
A beautiful job from Breaking Wheel here, realizing Entomologist went up in that building, could potentially go for sec rescue, and interesting to see that the Breaking Wheel is gonna go for abnormal here, but of course that cipher was very far, and this does ensure that he's likely gonna get another down, considering Entomologist is at half health, so only the forward is out. But we do know that forward used a lot of his football. Hunter knows this too, so it's very reasonable to go in for an abnormal here rather than what we usually see a peeper play.
Yes, I honestly feel like this definitely does practically cement the fact that this Wheel will be getting that 4-man because of the fact that since all he has to do is make sure that he pressures the middle ciphers, which having both of 2 out of the 3 remaining ciphers be in that middle allows him to easily traverse between them, and the only other option that the survivors would have would be to go for the far one. So in this situation, all he has to do is continue pressuring the cipher until he has that abnormal back, and he's already in a good position to go for that win. Especially now that the forward the Ento does not have any items, and the forward is very close to running out of football. Very good position for that Wheel. Most likely, we'll see a 4-man from the Hunter side.
Yeah, it most definitely seems to be that way. The forward sadly has to take spike there too. Entomologist did get up, but it's not gonna be enough for the Entomologist to also get some good progress onto that cipher machine.
Yeah, in a situation where like this, where there's 2 survivors trying to fight for, and we will see that surrender, acknowledging that they most likely will not be getting out of this type of situation. Good job from both sides for playing the game as well as they did.
Yeah, it was definitely not a bad match from those survivors. We can see that the priestess did pull out 70-second kite. However, like I said, especially with this insolent strategy, it's very easy to get that first spike against the wheel because it's charging at you at high speed. Initially, you're gonna be like, okay, I want to get to a cipher machine, I need to decode. You can kind of set yourself up in somewhat of a kiting area, but you're not sure yet where he's going. So a lot of survivors get caught off guard, therefore getting that first spike, and from there on, it's just the hunter gonna be able to get a trap. You also see them bringing blink in these cases, where they can just blink onto that first survivor, get that first hit, and from there on, go back into wheel form, get the second spike, get the snap, from there on, ensuring that they get the down. After the chair again, forward did try really well to still stall the game a little bit when
Mhm.
he was harassing. Good job from the forward on not taking any hits on the rescue, even though it was really tricky. So it's really impressive that these survivors pulled it off. You have to
Mhm.
consider, especially with the traps, getting the timing is really hard because it does. The stun does last quite a bit if you think about it.
Mhm.
So well done from the survivors on that. However, the wheel is definitely setting the tone for this matchup between 520 and Ravens.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It'll be very interesting to see how the Ravens Hunter performance on that, especially on a map such as Chinatown. Not quite. Since Ravens does have two hunters, is very. I don't know exactly who they'll be playing, but on a map such as Chinatown, playing something like Wheel to help them as well guarantee that down. Um, Especially in the current meta, Wheel is one of the hunters that does tend to fare best first round. So I'll be very excited to see what type of pick they have.
You know, we've definitely seen a lot of good stuff over this season so far coming from
Mhm.
wheel players. Wheel has quite a learning curve. You have to realize that it's not an easy hunter to pick up because getting those controls down, it's really hard. So definitely a lot of respect for these hunters too, that they are actually able to pull this off because they make it look really easy. They make it look as if they're just drifting around, getting a few spikes here and there, and then getting it down, just like that. It really does look like that. So much respect to all these hunters so far who've been able to pull this off. But yeah, you're right. Breaking Wheel is doing really well in at least in this server. We haven't seen as much of it on the other servers because there are a few counters to it. But like I
Mhm.
said at the start, I feel like Chinatown is one of the maps where you kind of want to play Breaking Wheel rather than some other hunters. Let's say, for example, Sculptor. No, it's definitely harder in my opinion to pull that off than a breaking wheel if you're feeling comfortable with playing both hunters, for example. So I
Mhm.
definitely understand that as a hunter you would lean more so towards playing breaking wheel here.
Yeah, especially
And oh no, go ahead. Sorry to
especially
cut
yeah,
you off.
because with this map, since because of how large it is very and especially in format communications, it is very easy to simply out rotate the hunter. And a character like Sculptor or any of or a little bit of like BQ and then Dream Witch as well. Even though Dream Witch is a fast, like her main body is a fast moving character, it is very easy to out rotate and waste a lot of the hunter's time. So by playing a character such as Wheel on this map, does help guarantee that you are able to cut off the survivors' rotations and simply just eliminate the amount of time that would be wasted traversing.
Yeah, you have to realize as well, like I said, Priestess is really strong on a map like Chinatown. So if you're playing something else, it's not a Breaking Wheel, because Breaking Wheel is very good at dealing with Priestess. You can just go in that to that wheel form, deal with those portals. And also, of course, like we saw, take the portal in his normal body form, but then he has these traps, so he can still kind of mind game around it, and still kind of work his way around it. But with some other hunters, let's say Sculptor, it's gonna be a little harder to deal with that priestess because
Mhm.
priestess can both pull up an amazing kite with the help of those portals, but they can also support the other survivors, help them rotate, help them get away, for example. So that kind of means that if you want to play another hunter in Chinatown, you have to really consider betting that priestess, and that makes it so that you cannot block anything else, which
Mhm.
can be really tricky.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Priestess is too much of a threat to a lot of hunters to simply go against her on a map such as this. Her support is just too strong, um, and prolongs many of the kites. So by going, as you were saying, by going wheel, it does certainly help the hunter's chances on a map such as Chinatown.
Yeah.
All right, it does seem like we are going into bans and picks once again. All right. We will be starting once again with that Seer ban, as we will be seeing a lot more this tournament. Seer simply being such a strong character, allowing for that extra hit, and then once again, that forward and that priestess. Um, but
It's getting quite repetitive in here. I'm gonna be honest. Like so far,
yeah,
Seer ban, then we just going in with the forward and the priestess. I mean, everyone knows why. Patient coming in as a
patient.
ban, also definitely not something we've seen several times already.
Yeah.
Um, there is not a lot for us to even talk about at this point because I am sure that everyone who's been watching for a while already is getting tired of hearing why these
Mhm.
survivors are good. I think everyone knows by now.
It does seem like we could be seeing another comp that is set to go against Wheel. However, the only thing with that mercenary is this decoding comp is very slow. Most likely the survivors will want to lock in somebody who has a somewhat fast cipher progress in order to prevent the fact that in order to prevent a a quick down leading to a loss. And we've already seen the mechanic ban, which is something we have not seen yet. But at least in this matchup with when a little girl locked, maybe possible Dream Witch counter comp. Um,
It does look like it, yeah.
yeah, because that little girl guaranteeing just a hard down if you chase her first, because she simply going towards one of those stronger kiters or like the rescuers and merging with them in order to guarantee that her kite is prolonged. And you have to decide between whether you want to continue chasing her or and chase a rescuer in the meantime, or simply switch targets. But yeah, that mechanic ban, very interesting. We
I
see.
mean, I think I kinda get it. If you
I
look at
do.
the team comp so far, forward priestess mercenary, the coding is gonna be really slow, so you kinda want someone there who is gonna boost that, and mechanic is perfect for that. So blocking
Mhm.
off that mechanic, ensuring that the coding is gonna be slow, or they gonna have a really easy time with whoever is gonna be the fourth target to chase. Um, because you have to think what they are going for here, like you said with that
Mhm.
little girl. You have, of course, they are slow with decoding, so
Mhm.
this is gonna be painful. But on the other hand, this hunter has a 1 in 4 chance to find a target, or
True.
considering its wheel, maybe 1 in 2. That
Yes.
it's a target they really want to chase because forward, of course, is gonna be a pain to deal with, even for a breaking wheel.
And plus, even with that mechanic ban, we've seen mechanic used a lot in China against Wheel in order to guarantee that down. Because even though she has a weak kiting ability, the bot just allows that to get
Finds
pushed.
that little
Oh,
girl. She does try to hide here, but it's sadly no good. This is a really good start for Ravens.
mhm. We saw that the Wheel did pull a smart move there. Oh, getting that hit on the little girl. We saw the hunter on Raven's side did pull a smart move, making sure to hug that wall in order to not actually get pushed back. All right, we see him breaking that wheel. Not the wheel, the pallet. Going back into wheel, very smart. Trying to get those 2 chips so that he can simply just snap that little girl down when it comes to it.
I do think it's somewhat interesting that they chose to just go for a regular hit rather than to try and get one spike off, considering she was kind of in the open. Of course, like we see here, he can get looped in the open. The mercenary is here as well. The little girl might try to get onto this mercenary, but that plan is kind of cut short considering that the mercenary is already taking a spike trying to get close.
Yeah, no, that is the difficult thing about little girl against wheel, because while pushing towards that other character to try and uh, prevent the fact, in order to try and prevent them getting that chip, once she is chipped, she can just get snapped out of the emerge. So you want to try and go for that little girl emerge before he gets first presence. Oh, going back to that portal.
Sadly went through the portal, so that's gonna mean that the forward is gonna go down. It does
Going
mean that
down.
mercenary is getting a free rescue on the little girl, but you have to consider priestess being pushed off of her cipher machine. Forward is gonna go down.
Hmm.
This
I
is
personally,
gonna slow down the cipher progression a lot.
I
And
definitely
he's just
agree.
gonna say, I know where you went down, so I'm just gonna cheer you instead. Let that little girl grow. I can deal with her later.
Especially, yeah, in this type of situation, going back through that portal is probably not the best idea, especially since he does have that full football and was full health. By doing that, it just gives the hunter a lot more pressure because now they have to heal up and go for. and go for the rescue. So that means one person will be in charge.
Some
Oh,
people
or going
going
for a
for
death.
rescue as well. It seems like the priestess might want to try and support, considering that mercenary. They use his tie turner. Um,
Mm-hmm.
However, this kind of give them another free rescue by sticking around the priestess portal a little too long. And
Mm-hmm.
now forward doing a beautiful job looping the hunter.
Oh, will he be able to get out of these spike? Oh, and no, getting that spike off using the first presence ability. Very good job on that wheel. Oh, and getting it before he goes through that portal. Very nice positioning for that
Oh, and
wheel.
that's a forward pellet stun too.
Mm-hmm. We'll see, understandably, going back into that wheel form in order to once again catch up to that forward. Oh, and pressuring the little girl. In this type of situation, yeah, because if he downs this little girl, the tide of the mercenary has already been wasted, and that forward still needs to get healed up and despiked in order to go for that rescue. So very smart decision, just pressuring the strongest decoder in this position.
It was smart job blocking off that portal because the little girl would have gotten a lot of distance if she decided to go through it. Just try to push the hunter away. It's gonna be a little too late considering you can stop her. Means little girl is gonna be on that second chair. Forward did get this spiked, but it is getting healed too. So that means once again a lot of time is being lost on the survivor side. They're still doing great, especially with the priestess support coming in too, but they made some small mistakes and they really had to pay the price with the forward taking the global portal.
Mm-hmm. However, it does seem like they are missing one cipher, but their other ciphers are quite far, which is the good situation for them. They still have a strong position to push for a tie, as long as this little girl is able. Oh, sorry, little girl was snapped. I was looking at the map. Um, but yeah, with comp, they still have a potential for a tie since all of these survivors have been reset. The priestess practically has full portals. The mercenary has all of his double pads, and the forward doesn't. He does not have most of his football, but he's still in a fairly good, a decent amount, especially if he is able to
Yeah, and he
harass
can
here.
still harass as well. And that's exactly what's gonna happen here. Is opting not to go for that stun, realizing it's too risky. He's gonna have the little girl up before he can get that stun up, meaning that he could potentially get hit out of it, and it's definitely not something they can afford here. The forward can absolutely not go down.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. However, the wheel is deciding to switch towards the mercenary in order to pressure those ciphers. Once again, we have this actually, sorry, this team has done a decent job of fairly spreading out their ciphers. So in the case that they do need to start another cipher, or it will be very difficult for that wheel to continue pressuring.
And they are doing a beautiful job kiting here.
Mm-hmm.
Mercenary is only taking a spike just
Oh,
now. You have to consider
oh,
they did manage to pop 2 ciphers in that time, and they managed to despite the forward too.
mm-hmm. Oh, very narrowly missing that trap. We also saw that earlier that mercenary just barely managed to avoid the no, sorry, not avoid, just the wheel just barely managed to get that spike on the mercenary using that full presence. Very close call for both sides.
Yeah, so he's gonna take the portal, just wants to get it out of the way. But Priestess still has 2 more portals, so that means that if she can just avoid to get hit here,
Mhm.
she is gonna gain a lot of distance, get the portal off, and get to these pellets here.
Yeah, no, it does seem like oh, just getting caught in that trap, getting pulled from the pallet. Still, however, it does seem like a very smart, deciding to transition towards that cipher in order to try and
Yeah,
pressure
but it's
down.
already too late because it's already primed.
Yes. Very, most likely. Oh yeah, very smart. Going for that perfume, making sure that if he did get hit by that full presence ability, he would not have been in a horrible situation. But
The
yeah.
only thing what I do want to point out, what I think is interesting, is that the Breaking Wheel hasn't used his blink so far as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of means that they brought this ability that they didn't really utilize, which kind of is disastrous because if you could have had, for example, abnormal hair as well,
Mm-hmm.
that could have made it so that they could potentially get a tie. He does bring detention in this build, so he still could potentially tie, but Gate's already
Does
open.
seem like the survivors are actually in a win position because that dungeon is at that gazebo area and the survivors are at the gate. This does seem like the 520 team will be getting that win. Very good job on the survivors taking that endgame slowly and just avoiding being too nervous about getting pressured by that wheel. Very good job guaranteeing that 3-man and putting their team into the lead.
Yeah, beautiful job from 520 with getting a significant lead over Ravens. It's gonna be, if I am right, 8 points for 522, 1 point for Ravens. It's gonna be really hard for Ravens to pull this back. They need to win this next matchup by at least a 4-man elimination or a 4 survivor escape if they still want to have a chance at winning this matchup, which is,
Mm.
we know, getting a 4-man, especially in the later rounds, is gonna be really hard. So, but that's what they have to do here if they want to stay into this game. So for 520, they are currently in a really comfortable position. Once again, really well played from those survivors, like you said, taking it slow in that end game. Beautiful kiting, especially the kiting in that wheel form, exactly
Mhm.
showing why, even though he has that map pressure and he has um, decent first presence and full presence abilities, it's not enough because he can definitely get kited, and that's
Mhm.
also why we don't necessarily see him as much in the other tournaments, in the other servers, because he just gets kited, and that's a weakness with a lot of hunters. We know for a fact that hunters, I mean, let's say Nightmare, who has been added quite recently still, is not good because he gets kited. Evil Reptilian, not good because he gets kited. And it also goes for hunters like Photographer. Like Photographer can be quite good. You have to play him really strategically because otherwise he just gets kited. And that's the issue with a lot of these hunters. You have to be really, really good at them if you want to make them work. Which is
Mhm.
also why I said that being able to control his wheel form takes a lot of skill, because
Mhm.
otherwise you're just gonna miss your turns or you're gonna get kited.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Especially in this meta where characters such as like simply straight decoders like Mechanic or we saw Explorer a lot in the past meta, but in this current meta, Explorer, a Prisoner, Mechanic, and then especially Mind's Eye don't tend to get used because while they have that fast decoding that can push matches into wins or ties if they're not found, if they are found, it simply puts their kiting ability very low and very easy for if that hunter finds them first to guarantee that quick down. That's why we see a lot of kiters being brought into the current meta, such as like Acrobat, Ento, even characters like Postman, which have very useful abilities like the dog or the simple support given to others by the letters. Characters like Postman allow for fast decoding as well as strong kiting, so going for characters that have the abilities to, do such is a lot more useful in this current meta, and that's why, as you were saying, in order to actually pull through, you need a lot of skill, um, using the characters, that you are sorry, using the hunters that you're playing. And so, even if a pick is more meta, not necessarily the best pick if you are not as confident with them.
Yeah, no, indeed. And that's also why with like what I said with you're getting kited. In the current meta, you have so many survivors that have such strong abilities to kite that it doesn't really matter as much if you have a certain ability, because they have their abilities too, and they're so incredibly strong. You mentioned Acrobat. Acrobat can get a lot of distance with those bombs, not even
Mhm.
considering the fact that they can slow you down or that they can just cancel your ability for a certain amount of time. So being able to deal with these kind of abilities as a hunter, it takes either a lot of skill or it
Mhm.
just takes a hunter that it has been equipped with a skill set that actually suffices to deal with that.
Mhm.
And sadly, in this meta, I'm going to be honest, I think there is not enough hunters that can actually do so. So it's getting a lot down to the skill of these hunters. And okay, we've just seen a 3-man escape, for example, on the survivors, but still, I think we can all agree that the hunter played incredibly well. The hunter had amazing control of the over his game and his hunter, so he played it really well. It's just that even though he had a fairly good start, these survivors, like we said, forward, priestess, mercenary, they're so strong and they're so good at kiting, and they with their abilities and the fact that you can kind of just loop him in the open, it's just really hard to deal with it.
Hmm. I definitely agree. Doesn't like we will be going to small intermission while we wait for the teams to pick their factions. So stick with us in the meantime. See you in a bit.
Wait, who's gonna talk first?
You can.
Me?
They can hear us now. So yeah.
Oh!
Um.
We didn't. Oh, we would already be back. Hi, welcome back, everyone. So we're gonna go into the second round. 520 is in a pretty big lead. They have a 7-point lead, which means that Ravens needs to win this matchup in order for this to go into the third round. Obviously, they need to do so by round points, but they really want that 4-man elimination here, or this 4 survivor escape, because if that's not the case, then even if it might go into a third round, it's gonna be nearly impossible for Ravens to still turn that around.
Yeah, no, quite literally. We do see. Oh, we see a little girl band coming in first after last match. It seems that Ravens does not want to deal with that little girl again. Understandable. She is a very annoying character to go against.
I mean, uh I know. I think on one hand it's understandable. I'm just on the other hand, I'm curious what this hunter's gonna play in the first place. Sculptor is getting banned, so they could potentially go Breaking Wheel again. But I don't know. They did manage to deal with this little girl. She could have been eliminated way earlier if the hunter didn't change to go after the forward. Although on the other hand, we do know that that thing with the global portal really cost the team a lot, and they still managed to get that 3 survivor escape. So, you know, better be safe than sorry, maybe.
Yeah, it is still, however, especially I forgot that the map was Ever Sleeping. On a map such as Ever Sleeping, choosing to not ban Priestess in the first position a little bit confusing simply because of how strong her support is on maps such as this. As you said, also with the World Portal play, while it did put the survivors down with that forward, it did allow that little girl to get away and make it so that the wheel had to continue changing targets. So I'm very curious to see what hunter the wheel decides to go with, especially banning Sculptor on a map such as this after shows that not Ravens 520 is not scared of the hunter's wheel. They've said, we've seen your wheel. We 3-manned it, we can do it again. So let's see if their confidence is able to hold up once again in this match.
Yeah, so what's funny to see here, so forward did get banned. They decided to go with better instead for harassment rather than this forward, because it got banned, obviously. So we're still gonna see harasser here. Better, not someone we've seen too much, but definitely makes sense. And with the Dream Witch coming in, a little girl being banned, making a lot more sense. I mean, the hunter knows they play it, and little girl is definitely a bigger threat to this to Dream Witch than it is to Breaking Wheel. So it definitely makes sense that the little girl is getting banned here. However, this is still gonna be a really hard team comp for Dream Witch to deal with.
Yeah, no, definitely. The character mercenary making it so that he can guarantee those rescues, as well as acrobat simply just having such a strong kiting ability. Priestess able to get out of those sandwiches, and batter just strong support anyways, as well as simply kiting towards his leash. Oh, his not leash, his leech, and using his balls to either push away the main body and then take that leech hit, or make sure that he only has to deal with one of the leeches.
However, being the first target, that's really good for this Dream Witch, because you have to consider this slow decoding once again could be their downfall. We have seen in this other match that it doesn't necessarily have to be this case, but it's gonna be a risk, and it's gonna be interesting to see if the Dream Witch can get the Acrobat down in time, considering that an Acrobat can simply kite really well. Especially considering he's going toward the corner house area. We know that corner house is very, very nice area to loop a hunter. Does get that. Sorry, he does get the patroller off here. That means, are we gonna see the first hit so far? Acrobat is doing well, but doesn't really get the timing down. It's gonna take a hit here, but he is getting blocked in with his own leech.
Yeah. Oh, and getting that down, that very fast down on the acrobat. Cypher's only being around 50. Very good job on that.
Oh, and Banksman is there too.
Oh,
This is a great start for the Dream Witch, getting that early down. I mean, him getting blocked in like that, that was really unfortunate for the Acrobat. Well played on the Dream Witch part, and basement being here just a cherry on top. This is a really good early game.
In this type of situation, I personally feel like the best situation here may be to simply like give Tinnitus some pressure to that basement to make sure that Dream Witch does not leave the chair and does not get too much pressure. But it does seem like they may be going for getting that juke. Does another one? Wow.
Wow.
However, that mercenary
Mercenary
still
is
is in
gonna
a loop.
rush into that basement, getting it just before half. You do have to realize that the acrobat also got chaired on the
Mhm.
mercenary cipher, so they kind of felt more pressured to go for this rescue for that reason. Mercenary is gonna
Mhm.
stay in basement. However, this is a Dream Witch.
Yeah, that is the difficult thing about going against a rescue against a Dream Wish in basement. Simply just leaving the leeches there, it does mean that however, getting that elbow pad, very nice elbow pad out of basement,
Wow.
immaculate rescue from the
You have to
mercenary.
give it to the mercenary. You might have had to use a lot of elbow pads. He did
Mhm.
use all three of them, but that was a very skillful rescue on this mercenary. Beautiful job, got the rescue off. And the hunter is getting hit out of the patroller here too, so better is not gonna be patrolled here.
Oh, very much.
Acrobat is gonna get up. Not sure if he
Yeah, he
used his
did get.
ulti or not.
I think he. Actually, I did not know myself. Very confusing situation, but yeah, it does it
I
makes
think
sense
the
in.
better picked him up, so this is suddenly looking really good again. The switch to
Mhm.
blink here, beautiful job getting that patroller and then following it up with the blink.
Mhm.
Better is still in the vicinity, so he can still harass.
Yeah, no, very smart of that Dreamwitch, however, in that position, when using that patroller, deciding to use the main body to avoid, once again, getting hit out of out of that patroller.
I do
Um,
have to say that one play, the beautiful rescue from the mercenary and making sure he's not going to go down, and then the better coming in to harass and rescue here as well, is putting the survivors back into the game. We are now down to 2 ciphers, one cipher's halfway, the other cipher's also halfway actually, so this is looking really good for the survivors.
we see this, oh, very nice juke of oh, missing that ball. Very unfortunate for that acrobat. But yeah, we do see that, the sheer power of a comp such as this. We have that batter, once again, very hard to chase, slow decoders, you don't even want to chase them first. But then the strongest chase potentials here are the priestess and the acrobat. But that acrobat has such strong kiting potential, and simply the strengths of the other characters make it very difficult to, get a lot out of this side from the hunter, out of this team comp from the hunter's position. All right. However, we will see that acrobat getting eliminated. So the Dream Witch does have a nice position to go for at least a tie. It's just whether or not she will be able to continue pressuring those ciphers
It's
in order
gonna
to
come down to
guarantee
this
more.
endgame. They do have 2 ciphers that
Mhm.
are very close to being decoded fully, so we are gonna be close to that prime cipher. Is the Dream Witch gonna get the down before that last cipher's primed? It's gonna be really hard because the mercenary is the only target that is injured.
Mhm. Yeah, no, we definitely um see that the oh sorry that the Survivor side team has done a very good job of just making sure that they have those two ciphers so that no matter which cipher the Dreamish decides to pressure, oh, very nice use of flywheel. No matter which cipher the hunter decides to pressure, they have that other one as a backup, and by splitting her power like this, they put themselves into that advantage.
Yes, so the Dream Witch is putting a lot on protecting that corner house cipher. They do have the other cipher on the other side of the map. A really smart move. You want to spread the ciphers as much as possible, and especially the fact that they got the middle cipher down as one of the first ciphers too shows that they definitely know how to decode against the Dream Witch.
Mhm.
Means that she has a really, it's gonna have a really hard time diverting her attention towards these 2 ciphers.
Yeah, no, as you said, this team very strong understanding of how the match should be played up against Dream Witch, and that's one thing, especially with how often Dream Witch is used in the old meta. It certainly allows a large amount of survivors to fully acknowledge how exactly
Oh, the priest is
um
gonna take the hit here, but it's gonna be her own leech, so there's no one on that side of the map. Um, leech-wise, which means the
Mhm.
Cyber's gonna be primed. It, I do have to once again get to. Oh no,
Getting
they.
the pop-up right before the right before that the hunter hit the mercenary. That was a very dangerous pop. I'm very confused that they actually went for that.
Well, the priestess probably saw the icon of the main body coming up, figured, okay, they're gonna come here. I'm just gonna pop this cipher. Amazing move from the Dream Witch
Mm-hmm.
to basically lure them
Still getting the
out,
free man. Oh
but
my
it's
god.
still not gonna be enough. It is a mercenary that did get hit, so they
Mm-hmm.
still have those 30 seconds, which is simply enough to open the gate
Yeah,
and get
simply
out of there.
also, yeah, also simply having that batter on the gate end game immediately before the pop. That's probably another thing. They were probably waiting for that batter to get into gate and calling for that pop and not expecting that Dream Witch to then switch to the mercenary and get that hit right before the pop. So, sorry,
Yeah,
not
no,
right before, right
definitely.
after.
They are really lucky that the mercenary is able to take a detention hit and still have like 30 seconds of free play time. Because
Mhm.
otherwise they could have definitely gone from a 3 survivor escape to a draw, or maybe even worse, because the survivor's gonna go down so the hunter can just switch targets if
Mhm.
necessary. So it could have been really disastrous. Luckily for the survivors, it did work out. Once again, amazing job. Ravens had a really strong early game, and they still managed to pull through. They got a beautiful rescue, really skillful rescue from the mercenary. Better coming in, doing great on harassing, getting the rescue off as well, keeping the acrobat alive for a little bit too. And
Mhm.
then you have to give it to this team as well. Once again, after that first elimination, they kited really well. They only gave up a hit back when the priestess got hit before she was priming that cipher.
Mhm. Yes. It does seem like we're gonna go back into another break just to show you some more of the highlights from last week and today. Hope you guys enjoy those. Alright, hello and welcome back. We are going into the second matchup of round 2. In order to actually pull through for the next round, Ravens will need a 4-man elimination to not lose by points. I'm pretty sure at least that is, unless they get...
I mean, if they get a 4-man elimination, that means we're going into round 2 because they win that round. It's still going to be for that round 6-3, so that would put them at a total of 7 points against 11, which is a 4-point gap, which is a lot. I talked about this yesterday. 3 points is already a lot. 4 is gonna be nearly. It's possible. It's definitely possible to do, but you have to consider these are all high-tier players. They play roughly at the same level, so it's not really... You cannot really expect one side to, especially in something like a third round, to come through and just get a 4-man elimination or a 4-survivor escape, and on top of that get a win in the other faction as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is a lot easier to try and maintain that gap rather than it is to close the distance. So it'll be very difficult for Ravens to come around. However, they do need a 3 or a 4-man this round in order to be able to do anything. So let's see what type of composition they're going. We will be seeing that Ford and that Patient. Very strong idea. Both of them are very strong kiters, as well as can guarantee that rescue. Well, that Patient as well does not have as slow decoding as, for example, a Mercenary. So it does allow him to be a little bit of a better substitution if you need a stronger...
I think it's kind of interesting that they're gonna let Forward through. We do see a Mechanic Ben coming in as well. You do have to realize 520, they just want to draw here.
Yeah.
They are gonna play it safe. They want to draw. So Mechanic Ben makes a lot of sense, but it is interesting that they're gonna let the Forward come through, because Forward is one of those survivors that can just change the flow of the game.
Yeah, no,
we saw the Ben coming in the round before this because it's Forward.
Oh yeah.
So it's really interesting to see that he's gonna come through. Gravekeeper coming in too. I do not know what the last Ben would be, because I think we're missing one, right? I assume it's gonna be... It was a Priestess Ben. It's interesting that they are gonna play Gravekeeper, and it's really smart of this Hunter to go Bonbon. It's gonna be tough to deal with the Forward, but other than that, this is a really smart pick from their Hunter. Bonbon, typically more so TIE Hunter. You don't see him as much because Sculptor is just a little better than Bonbon on the topic of chip hunters, but he's gonna be able to deal with Gravekeeper's gonna be able to deal with Patient, with Little Girl as well. So gonna have to see what this Hunter is gonna do exactly, and especially it's, in my opinion, gonna come down to what the Forward is gonna do in order to make sure that his team is gonna win this matchup.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. As well as as we were talking about the not banning Ford in that situation. If you're deciding to play a character such as Bonbon, where simply going for that insta rescue against that Bonbon, while it does speed up how it does speed up the chair time and deprive the survivors of a lot of decoding progress. It does mean that you get that guaranteed rescue and you don't risk getting a stuff or a double down, as well as you can just simply go for supporting stuns after and prolong the kite. So it is very interesting deciding to go for that.
It's gonna go to waste. Little Girl is a really good target for Monmon here. Ooh, manages to lead
just barely
Forward.
That time was very
beautiful
getting that
bomb, though. He does get the chain off on the Forward.
Simply footballing back into Graveyard. Oh, yeah, going... Question mark? Yeah, going back into Graveyard. And then splitting. Probably... Oh, wow, very smart play. Teleporting away and just leaving the Forward to be the one that's close to the Hunter. However...
But the Forward used a lot of football to make that possible, so the Forward, who was gonna be the one to change the tide of the game, is suddenly a very vulnerable target, and he's gonna go down to the blink here.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not a bad play to get the little girl out of there, but they did have to pay a really high price for that.
However, that was a very interesting play. Seeing just utilizing the fact that once they get out of range of that heartbeat, the fear radius, it does allow that little girl to go away. So I feel like it would have been slightly more usable if, for example, the little girl had received more chips up until that point. But having both of them
Yeah,
be
you
at the
do have
same
to
health,
realize as well, they don't have a lot of cypher progress. There is
yeah.
only two ciphers being done. There is two ciphers that are like halfway, but the forward is already over half. The
Mhm.
patient is being pushed away from this chair, so if he wants to get this rescue, it's gonna be really tough. The hunter is trying to predict his movement here, just get the hit through the pallet,
Mhm.
realizing that the patient is just gonna walk through because he was too busy aiming. Forward sadly has to be sold here, and that leaves a lot of vulnerable targets on this team to go for that rebound.
The fact that they decided to sell the not the grave, sorry, the forward in this situation is honestly I consider to be a very confusing decision because of the fact that they do need a win at the minimum just to and canceling that attack recovery.
Ooh.
They do need a win at the minimum just dodging the timeout. That was very good. In order to try to push it into a third round. Um Very interesting decision to go for that sell just because of how much time, like how much more difficult it becomes to then get that win or 3 man if there's only 3 survivors left at the end game.
Yeah, beautiful job from little girl trying to dodge those bombs. Sadly, has to be in the open, so Bonbon did have the opportunity to just catch up and get that normal attack hit. Ooh, patient of the Gravekeeper is getting into that shuffle just in time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna
Oh,
go
but since you're
for
going for
pretty
Pod.
much an instant rescue here.
Mm-hmm.
Again, great job from Will. Basically just sharing those survivors close to the cipher machines that are being done. We saw this last match too.
Mm-hmm.
And
However,
Patience
oh,
gonna go
sorry.
down too. Beautiful job. It is quite risky for a hunter like Bonbon, who is better at
Mm-hmm.
camping than chasing, to just TP away from the target that is gonna go down and chase someone else completely. But that cipher was being closely done, so he decided to just stop that cipher rush even more. Down this patient means that the Gravekeeper is the only target who is
Mm-hmm.
going around now. Is being found too. Little girl gonna self pick, is forced to self pick. Hunter knows this too, so if the Bonbon gets her down again, there is nothing she can do. So
Yeah.
this leaves the team very vulnerable.
Oh, well, she'll be able to actually get this rescue off, though. It does seem like
It
she
does.
managed to, and not getting hit either. Very nice play from the survivors. Surprising that they were able to manage to get that off. However, it does seem like the Gravekeeper is starting. Oh, and getting
Oh
hit by Tram. That was a very
wow!
nice play from the little girl. I don't know if that was planned, but that was
Little girl
actually
indeed
quite
pushing the
beautiful.
hunter into the train.
Mm-hmm. And we will see. We do have two ciphers that are very close to prime. So if a little girl is able to kite until one of the ciphers is primed and then continue that kite to dungeon,
Little girl is
very.
doing really well.
She's doing great.
Even though she is a very vulnerable target here, she's doing an amazing rebound.
Ooh, but
Let's
getting
go
that to
down
hit.
here. The Gravekeeper could potentially go for rescue here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ooh,
basement
basement.
here. I mean,
It is a
Gravekeeper still
Gravekeeper
has
though.
shuffle.
Yes.
He could potentially do something. Patient can prime that final cipher.
The danger
It's
comes when getting out of basement.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, no, it'll be very difficult, especially because he does have teleport, but the Bonbon does not really know which of the ciphers is the one that the patient is at, because he could have simply
Gravekeeper
gone to
gets down
graveyard as
early.
well. Oh, he does have teleport. Yeah, teleporting to that chair. Makes sense. Um, if he's able to... Oh, no, getting that rescue. Pop? Yes, and we will be seeing that rescue as well as hopefully not deciding not to actually go for that shovel after the down. Very interesting. All this Bonbon really needs is a tie, so seeing whether or not he will be deciding to go for that for a 3-man. Oh, yes, it does seem like he will be going for that
I
3-man.
mean, he can now just pick up. Oh, he is gonna pick up the little girl. I would have decided to maybe pick up the Gravekeeper first. It's not gonna matter as much. Gravekeeper's still down in basement. The teleport does mean that he has to let the patient go in this case. But, like we said, they need a draw. They get a. Ooh, there is that
Mhm.
shuffle. I forgot about that. But
Mhm.
shuffle
However,
against the
is a
Bonbon,
bonbon.
it's tough.
Yeah, no, however, the fact that it is basement does allow him to utilize these stairs. It's just going to be very Oh, but managing to avoid the
Wow,
time
he got
bomb.
through.
Yeah.
Is he
Will
gonna?
he be able to get
Dungeon
dungeon
is
is the
right there. Is
question.
can he get it?
Maybe, maybe, maybe. We'll see. He does have to, and deciding to head for that shovel,
Wow.
trying to predict the fact that the Gravekeeper will jump out just to hit the shovel instead. Very nice play on both sides, managing to get that tie. Unfortunately, they did need a 3-man escape in order to push it into the third and final.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely sad that they did manage to get the draw if they did not manage to get the 3-man escape. But wow, that play from the Gravekeeper was just beautiful. Even though Ravens is gonna lose this matchup, especially that last Survivor round, the page
Mhm,
from the little girl coming in, the Gravekeeper clutching that dungeon with the shovel and using those stairs to his
mhm,
advantage, being so patient and looking for the right time to just get through. Beautiful
mhm.
job. You have to give it to Will too. Did
Yeah,
an
no,
amazing job. Getting a 3-man elimination with a hunter such as Bonbon is it's
I
not easy. So it's really incredible that they managed to pull this off, especially considering that the forward was their first target. It's risky. Forward is a formidable kiter, but that did mean that once the forward is on chair, you have a lot of more so squishy characters.
Mhm,
Against Bonbon to deal with, and it sadly just cost them in the end. But still, really well played from both sides. I am very excited to see more of both of these teams because even though Ravens lost, it's definitely not the end for them. We will see them play in the later weeks. We are not going to see any matches the upcoming 2 weeks, I think.
yeah, because we have decided there is going to be a break in ICL due to the fact that there is IVT going on as well, and we know that a lot of the teams will be participating in IVT, and simply to give the teams a break as well as allow the teams to focus on their IVT matches and not worry about timings and things like that. We will be having a 2-week break. Let me double check the week that we are back. Yeah, so it does seem yeah, the ISL break will be June 25th, June 26th, and then the July 2nd and 3rd. So we will be coming back on July 9th for Con versus Fusion and then Omega versus CG.
Yes, I'm already looking forward to it. It's gonna be a little wait, but it's gonna be worth it. And I think it's really nice that these teams get to focus on IFT first right now. So definitely cheer all of these teams that are gonna be participating on IFT on as well. We
Mhm.
know them, we love them already, even though it's only been 2 weeks. So I would love to see all of you support them in IFT as well. And it would be fun to see maybe one of the ICL teams win there. It would be really cool to see.
Yeah, no, it certainly would. I'm pretty sure the teams that are in both ICL and IVT by name. We have, of course, Fusion. We have CH4, Ravens, and then we'll also see teams such as Ace, and I think those are the only team. Oh, and wait, no, yeah, I think those are the only teams we'll be seeing in IVT by name. But yeah, so hopefully you can stick around and wait for the break to be over, as well as go ahead and support all of the teams in IVT in the stream. And if you're participating in IVT, I wish you the best of luck.
All right. Thank you for having me again today. It was a real pleasure being here. And thanks to
Mhm.
everyone watching too. It wouldn't be complete without all of you.
Yeah. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of Father's Day And yeah, have a great night.
To